UFC Paris just wrapped up, and the fall of the fighting nerds have begun. Now, 3 of the 4 main fighting nerds have lost 2 back-to-back in the co-main and main event. Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio Borralho. UFC Paris was an instant classic, a 9 out of 10. In fact, 11 of the 13 fights on the card ended by finish. An insane night of fights. I would say this is the best fight night of the entire year. Man, that's not recency bias. That's just a fact. The UFC's been kind of mid in 2025, but this fight night was absolutely insane. And it kind of sucks that the main event ended in kind of like snoozer fashion, but let's break down a couple of the top fights, starting off with the main event. Of course, I did terrible on this card. I went 5-8 on predictions. I actually got the first 6 fights wrong on the card. I was 0-6 on the prelims to start, but Nassourdine Imavov defeats Caio Borralho by decision. I had Caio Borralho by decision, but Nassourdine Imavov was just a step ahead the entire fight. He was just faster. He was pressuring Caio Borralho. Caio Borralho just looked like he was stuck in second gear, where Imavov was in third or fourth gear the whole fight. That's kind of what it seemed like. Borralho went 0 for 5 on takedown, so he was unable to initiate any grappling and get Imavov down at any point. And yeah, this fight was a striking matchup, and Imavov just proven to be the more powerful and more technical striker, and he just outstruck Caio Borralho, in my opinion, to a 50-45. I mean, some people are complaining about the decision, saying it should have been 48-47. I don't mind a 50-45, or at the very least a 49-46. I picked Borralho. I thought Imavov pretty much won every round. Maybe you can give the first to Caio Borralho, but maybe the 5th. But I don't know, man. I thought Imavov was easily winning the fight, stuffing all the takedowns, just a step ahead in the striking, just too fast, too switched on, and yeah, he was stinging Caio Borralho, man. Caio Borralho has a hell of a chin because Imavov was hitting him with some good shots, and he just kept coming forward. But Caio Borralho, man, this guy hasn't lost in 10 years on a 16-fight win streak, and I gotta say, he kind of disappointed me with his showing, right? I don't know if it's the back-to-back weight cuts. I'm not even going to blame it on that. He claimed after the fight that he wanted to give the fans a striking war, so he struck with Imavov because he wanted to make the fight entertaining, but man, the downfall of Caio Borralho needs to be studied. I'm joking. It wasn't the worst performance. I think it was a better showing than DDP had against Khamzat, but Nassourdine Imavov just proved me wrong once again. There's something about his French face I can't stand looking at. Just look at his face on the left of the screen. Something about it I don't like. There's just something about this dude's face. It pisses me off. I don't know if I'm the only one, but shout out to Imavov. He's a humble guy. He got it done. He's now on a 6-fight unbeaten streak, and I think you do Borralho versus Whitaker next. That's the fight to make. Borralho, he just, like I said, he looked like he was stuck in first gear. At the end of the fight, in his post-fight interview, he said that he couldn't get his adrenaline running. I don't really know what he meant by that, but he said he just kind of felt like he was stuck, and it looked like that, so it makes sense. But nonetheless, Imavov easily wins this fight, and yeah, man, we got to see how RDR versus Fluffy plays out. But let me just say, guys, I made a video recently about the Khamzat Chimaev being champion, and I made a claim that Nassourdine Imavov has the worst chance to beat Khamzat Chimaev, and I stand by that. This fight only proves that further. You will never, ever, ever, ever in a million years beat Khamzat Chimaev being a well-rounded fighter. Nassourdine Imavov is a well-rounded fighter. You have to be a specialist. You have to be dangerous on the ground, or you have to have one-shot knockout power to beat Khamzat Chimaev. Nassourdine Imavov has damn near little to no chance. He's not dangerous enough. He's not a good enough grappler. He's going to get taken down just as fast as Dricus was, and he's going to get dominated on the ground. And he doesn't offer enough danger anywhere for Khamzat to just not maul this guy and destroy him. I'm sorry. Beating Khamzat Chimaev, it takes a special kind of fighter. It takes a guy that can one-punch KO him. It takes a guy like Gilbert Burns, who has a dangerous guard. Imavov doesn't have any of that. He's just a good, well-rounded fighter. He has skills everywhere, but he's not amazing anywhere. And I think that's a problem when you're talking about a guy like Khamzat who can just maul you. He can destroy you. So what this fight showed me is that, first of all, Caio Borralho would have also got smoked by Khamzat, but I think Khamzat smokes both of these guys easily. I think he would submit both of them. I know people clown on Khamzat because he rode to a decision against Dricus, but I do think he would finish both of these guys by submission. And yeah, man, I know I'm coming off as a French hater because I picked against the French fighters, and I'm talking about how I don't like Imavov's face. But guys, let me know in the comments. Am I wrong to say that this guy just has no chance against Khamzat? What is he going to do? He's not going to knock him out. His power is nothing crazy, Imavov. He's not going to submit him, obviously. This guy hasn't submitted anybody in the UFC. He's going to outstrike Khamzat? No, the fight's going to be on the feet for approximately 3 seconds, and he's going to be on his back, fighting off a choke. So, yeah, I mean, sure, give Imavov his title shot. He's arguably earned it. He's #1 contender. He didn't even have to fight this fight, but he did. He won. Give him his title shot, but we know what's going to happen. Khamzat Chimaev's going to maul this guy, and it's going to be a first or second round TKO or submission for Khamzat. But nonetheless, Imavov proved me wrong. He looked great. He looked fast. He was just a better fighter. Better striking, great takedown defense, good accuracy, good chin, switched on the whole time. Caio Borralho, like I said, he just stuck in first gear the whole fight. He wasn't really able to do anything, and for a guy that was on a 16-fight win streak and, hasn't lost in 10 years, Caio Borralho, a bit of a disappointing performance. Maybe his teammate Ruffy getting schooled took his psyche down a bit, and it put a lot of pressure on him. I don't know. This is his first fight on, like, the big main stage, main event in Paris. The whole crowd's cheering against him. Maybe the nerves got to him. I don't know. But, yeah, man, Imavov just proven to be too damn good, and he takes the win over Caio Borralho. I think Caio Borralho should fight Robert Whittaker next. I think they're right next to each other in the rankings. And for Imavov, I think you give him a title shot. I know I said Khamzat would smoke him, but let's be real, Khamzat smokes probably everybody at middleweight, so somebody's got to get it next. Imavov versus Khamzat early next year. I don't mind it. Caio Borralho versus Whittaker, that's a perfect fight to make. Let's get on to the co-main event where Lucas Tracy is about to go on the longest glazing session in his recap video that we've ever seen, because he was exactly right. Lucas Glazy predicts it. Benoît Saint Denis destroys Mauricio Ruffy and makes it look easy, and proves that if you can put pressure on Mauricio Ruffy, this guy will fold, and that's exactly what happened. Mauricio Ruffy looked extremely uncomfortable the entire fight. Benoît Saint Denis opened up the fight immediately with like a body kick, and then he even caught Mauricio Ruffy off guard with the head kick, and it just felt like Benoît Saint Denis had the perfect game plan. Go out there, give Mauricio Ruffy no room, no space, be in his face, don't give him any breathing room, push him back, put him in the clinch, get him down to the ground, and yeah, it was perfect game plan. At no point in this fight was Benoît Saint Denis in any trouble. He made Mauricio Ruffy fold to the pressure and almost tried to submit him in the first round and got his back a couple times, but ultimately Ruffy was able to get out. But in the second round, Benoît Saint Denis was on his back. He got the face crank, and Ruffy ultimately tapped. And yeah, am I surprised? Yes, I am. I did not think that Ruffy was a lock. I thought he was a safe pick. A lock means that there's no possible way I thought Ruffy could lose. There was that little thought inside of me. It was like, man, Benoit could get it done. But I thought that Ruffy was a safe pick. Benoît Saint Denis against Kyle Prepolek and against even Dustin Poirier and Moicano, he looked very sloppy on the feet, very slow. So the assumption of me and other fans alike are like, man, Ruffy's going to keep the distance against this guy, and he's going to snipe him. He's going to make it look easy. Benoit's way too sloppy. He's not going to be able to get the takedown. But boy, were we wrong. Benoit had a perfect game plan. Go out there, pressure Ruffy, and turns out all Ruffy needs to fold is pressure. Just pressure this guy backwards, and he's cooked. And that's all Benoît Saint Denis had to do. Benoît Saint Denis returns to form. He shocks a lot of us, including myself. The only person he didn't shock was Lucas Glazy, who called this, which I now have to eat my words, because I went around saying that Lucas Tracy was spreading Benoît Saint Denis propaganda, saying he was going to show Mauricio Ruffy levels, and now I have to eat my words, because guess what? Lucas Tracy was exactly right. Mauricio Ruffy was shown levels. Would you say he was fraud checked? I don't know, because the word fraud check is so loosely thrown around these days. Let's not forget, Benoît Saint Denis, no matter what I or other people say about him, he is a ranked fighter, and at one point he was on a 5-fight win streak, all finishes, and he was busting up Dustin Poirier in that first round. Sure, he got destroyed by Moicano, and he didn't look great against Prepolek, but I don't know if I'd consider this a fraud check. I guess when you look at the way people were looking at the fight, that Benoit's sloppy on the feet, he's going to get easily KO'd by Ruffy, you could consider it a fraud check in terms of Ruffy's grappling, kind of got fraud checked, because everybody was saying, man, they were talking about Ruffy fighting Poirier, but they were like, first we need to see how this guy's grappling is, right? Can he stuff a takedown? Can he do some damage on the ground himself? No, turns out he can't stuff a takedown, and turns out his submission defense is decent, but ultimately he folded to the pressure of Benoît Saint Denis. And yeah, BSD proves me wrong. Sloppy boppy BSD with arguably some of the worst striking defense in the whole top 15. Doesn't matter. His pressure was undeniable in this fight. BSD is the embodiment of marauder. This guy marauded his way to a win over Mauricio Ruffy. Didn't give him an inch of space the entire fight. And yeah, Ruffy folded like a lawn chair and ultimately got face cranked at the end of round 2. Just before, or just after the midway point of the round. And for Mauricio Ruffy, Looks like he's gonna have to take a step down in competition. Maybe you do Ruffy versus like Ludovic Klein, or you do Ruffy versus like Mateusz Ronbetsky, one of those guys. And for Benoît Saint Denis, I think you do him versus Beneil Dariush. BSD coming off that win over Moicano wasn't the most impressive performance in the world. He got cracked in that fight, got dropped. Him versus BSD, so we can see if Dariush's chin will hold up, or if BSD can maraud through and knock him out. Because let's be real, Dariush has way too good of submission defense and just grappling defense for BSD to be able to take him down. So it'll be a striking matchup. That's the fight I want to see next for both of these guys. And yeah, ultimately, I picked the Fighting Nerds to win tonight, and I could not have been more wrong. Benoît Saint Denis steamrolled Ruffy, and Imavov comfortably beat Borralho, proving me wrong, proving that Unk MMA in the Big 25 is not a great predictor, guys. I have not been great with predictions. My predictions in 2024 were a lot better, but this card, I started off 0-6 and ended up 5-8. It's not good. I went 4-2 in the main card, but on the prelims, I went 1-6. It ain't good, boys. What happened? My fall off needs to be studied. This is also my first video I'm going to be uploading in about a week, so I'm going to be getting back on that YouTube grind soon. But let's talk about the next fight, Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. And can somebody tell me, respect to Paul Craig, he retired, right? He got finished. But can somebody tell me what Paul Craig has been training the last 14 years? This guy's 37. From his Wikipedia page and from what I've gathered, he's been training MMA since he was 23 years old, 14 years. And Paul Craig, in his 14 years of training striking in MMA, this guy only knows how to throw a body kick. What has Paul Craig been training these last 14 years? I don't understand. He's so sloppy on the feet. He's defenseless, and he doesn't throw anything outside of an occasional head kick and a body kick. He has no punching technique whatsoever. What is this guy training? We need to send Paul Craig 2-3 years to Mayweather's gym and forget. But nonetheless, it looked like Modestas Bukauskas was going to finish Paul Craig at the end of round 1, and we're like, hold up, the bell's coming up. Paul Craig's going to make it to round 2. But at literally 1 second to go, Paul Craig takes a big shot, a big elbow from Modestas Bukauskas, puts him out cold. And yeah, Paul Craig gets knocked out. And at 37 years old, he put up the gloves. Respect to Paul Craig, but I think he made the right decision. He has no chin, and these guys are just too good for him. And crazy to think that Paul Craig has a submission win over Nikita Krylov, over Ankalaev, the only guy to beat Ankalaev, and over Jamal Hill. He was the first guy to beat Jamal Hill and Ankalaev. Kind of crazy when you see how terrible he kind of is. And yeah, man, I'm not trying to be a Paul Craig hater. Shout out to Paul Craig, but let's call it what it is, man. This guy striking just never, ever improved, ever. He just had a dangerous guard with a triangle or an armbar, and if he couldn't get that, then he was kind of fried on the feet. He got knocked out by Caio Borralho. He got knocked out by Johnny Walker. He got knocked out by Modestas Bukauskas. I mean, at this point, knocking out Paul Craig, it's kind of like knocking out Johnny Walker. Like, it's not cool anymore, you know? Everybody's done it. But yeah, Modestas Bukauskas on a 4-fight win streak. And remember, this guy got sunned by Khalil Roundtree, I think back in like 2020 or 2021. He got his like knee stomped. That was that viral clip when Khalil Roundtree landed that knee stomp and put him out for like a year and a half. But since then, he's been on kind of a tear, a 4-fight win streak. He's looking in prime form. Modestas Bukauskas doing his thing, man. Looking to get into the top 15 of light heavyweight in his next fight. And for Paul Craig, yeah, he rode off into the sunset. So sad to see Paul Craig get KO'd out cold. I would have loved to see him get a triangle and ride off into the sunset. But, man, listen, whenever you've been training MMA for 14 years and all you develop is a body kick, what do you expect? So, yeah, Paul Craig retires. Modestas Bukauskas extends his light heavyweight win streak to 4. And I'm just going to brush through the rest of the card right quick. Not going to cover everything. Balaji Oki gets beat by Mason Jones. I was watching this fight live, and the second that I saw Oki go for the finish against Mason Jones, I knew Mason Jones was going to come back and win, because Oki showed low fight IQ, and he tried to force a finish, and ultimately he folded because I knew this guy was going to gas out. The way he was swinging for the fences against Mason Jones once he dropped him, he was way too gung-ho on getting the finish. Mason Jones showed that veteran experience, and Oki gassed out, and Mason Jones came back. He almost got a Kimura in round 1, didn't lock it up, but in the second round, Mason Jones was able to TKO this guy, ground and pound, and Oki gets busted up and TKO'd by Mason Jones. Shout out to Mason Jones, man, doing his thing. Axel Sosa gets a win over Reese McKee by TKO. Shocker, it's Reese McKee. He's 1-4 in the UFC. I don't know how people pick Reese McKee. I know people were saying this guy, Axel Sola, could be a fraud, and maybe he still is, but Reese McKee's Reese McKee. He always will be. This guy's he's now 1-5 in the UFC. So if you pick Reese McKee, You can call me an idiot for picking the fight nerds, but you're an idiot if you pick Reese McKee. I'm sorry. Reese McKee, now 1-5 in the UFC. William Gomez with the first decision win of the night versus Robert Ruchala. And I'm not going to lie, I thought a 30-27 scorecard was kind of crazy. I was watching this fight while I was at work, so I wasn't able to watch every little detail, but I thought that Robert Ruchala at least won one round. But nonetheless, the French judges give it to William Gomez in a scrappy fight, 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28. He gets it done. And yeah, I got that fight right. That was my first fight I predicted right, I believe. Oh no, the Umar Sy fight. Umar Sy gets a KO over Brenton Ribeiro. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. People were saying that Umar Sy was a fraud because he lost to Alonzo Minifield, which, fair enough, losing to Minifield in the Big 25 is kind of embarrassing. But yeah, Umar Sy bounces back. He gets a win over Brenton Ribeiro, but Brenton Ribeiro has double-digit losses, so it's not really that impressive. We need to see Umar Sy fight better competition, but maybe not, because he fought the lowest-ranked guy at light heavyweight, and he got cooked. He didn't get cooked. He lost the fight, but Umar Sy gets it done by first-round KO. Right at the end of the round, Brenton Ribeiro, he TKOs him. Ante D'Elia, I picked Marcin Tybura by crafty man, old man heavyweight, crafty man skill to get a ground and pound TKO in the second round. But Ante D'Elia comes from the PFL, and if you guys don't know, I think they fought 10 years ago. They were mentioned on the broadcast, and Ante D'Elia broke his leg against Marcin Tybura like 10 years ago, and the fight was ultimately stopped. So he waited a decade for this moment, and he capitalized because he sent Marcin Tybura into the shadow realm, ultimately KOing him, brutal KO. Ante D'Elia makes his way onto the heavyweight scene, and he's training with Tom Aspinall, so he's going to have that power. Tom Aspinall teaches guys. We need to send all the UK fighters to train with Tom Aspinall because all these guys got pillow hands until they train with Tom Aspinall. He shows them the touch of death. But nonetheless, Ante D'Elia proves a lot of us wrong. He comes to the UFC after being in the PFL for a while, and he gets a win over Marcin Tybura. So that's going to put Ante D'Elia right in the top 10 of heavyweight, and now we have another player in the heavyweight division. It'll be interesting if he gets to the top, because would he fight Tom Aspinall? They train together. I don't know, but yeah, he gets it done. Now, I am an idiot. I pick Harry Hardwick to beat Cal Fernandez. Now, guys, hear me out. Casual unk strikes again. I did not know that Harry Hardwick took the fight on 5 days' notice. Otherwise, I wouldn't have picked him, but yeah, Harry Hardwick got absolutely brutalized by leg kicks. Cal Fernandez either has some of the strongest leg kicks we've ever seen, or Harry Hardwick just has no leg kick defense and has no legs because, yeah, he got destroyed by leg kicks, easily beaten the first round. Cal Fernandez took no damage and had no adversity. Harry Hardwick, on a 9-fight win streak outside the UFC, gets soundly beat by Cal Fernandez by leg kicks on 5 days' notice. So, yeah, not much to say about that fight. Just a leg kick clinic by Cal Fernandez. Sam Patterson finishes Trey Waters in the first round. I didn't see this fight. I was at work, unfortunately, so not much to say. The two tallest welterweights in the entire UFC, kind of crazy when you think about it. Trey Waters and Sam Patterson, the two tallest. Sam Patterson gets it done, I believe, by submission. Brad Tavares, I also did not see this fight, but Brad Tavares gets TKO'd by Robert Burchak in round 3. Apparently, there was some controversy about the stoppage. Brad Tavares wasn't too happy about it. Let me know in the comments, but unfortunately, I had to miss this fight as well. Andreas Gustafsson gets fraud checked by Renat Fakhretdinov. A lot of people, shout out Doom MMA, was riding with Andreas Gustafsson. And unfortunately for all of us, Renat Fakhretdinov finishes him in less than a minute. Andreas Gustafsson gets folded in under a minute. It's unfortunate because after Renat Fakhretdinov robbed Carlos Leal and got his ass whooped back in Abu Dhabi back in October, I was like, man, this guy's a fraud. His record's fraudulent. He's 23-1, but I think Andreas Gustafsson's going to finish this guy. And yeah, we were all wrong. Shout out to all the people that picked Andreas Gustafsson, but it turns out that Viking mentality and just Caucasus region mentality is the wave, because Renat Fakhretdinov shows that he's not a fraud, and he essentially fraud checks Andreas Gustafsson. And yeah, that's unfortunate because I really wanted to see Andreas Gustafsson get it done, but Renat Fakhretdinov continues to do the damn thing, showing that he's a legit guy. And I regret to inform you guys that I did miss the Sam Hughes versus Sean O'Bannon fight. It's a shame. What an absolute barn burner of a fight I had to miss. So I apologize I couldn't cover that. We'll be covering that on the boxing channel. And yeah, that's my quick breakdown of the fights, you guys. Amazing card, a 9 out of 10. By far the best fight night of the year. Send the UFC to France every year. Yeah, I'm excited to see Tom Aspinall send fucking Cyril Gane's head into orbit. But that's my breakdown of the fights. I went 5-8 on the card. I am absolutely 100% a casual. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm out. Peace.